G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast, day 2 of our Sydney to Hobart coverage. Had little sound bites, had a little bit of information just on what's going on with the race. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Let me bring in my colleague, Mr. Nick Bice.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
G'day, bud.
Top of the day. Actually just got back to home waters, as a matter of fact, back in Adelaide town and creating my own waters. It's so bloody hot here.
Yeah.
Just sweating up a storm.
Yeah. You're in a tough part of the world. It's probably explains why we're getting the strange weather we're getting through on the Hobart.
Well, as a matter of fact, I drove from the Victorian Highlands this morning back to Adelaide and came through a huge smoke wall there at one point in time. Not unlike Sydney a few weeks, well, basically the last month or so. So it's pretty crazy. It's crazy stuff, eh?
Yeah.
It's a weird world.
If you're not from Australia, basically imagine that everywhere you walk on Australia is on fire at the moment. That's pretty much, it's as good as we can explain it. Everything's on fire.
Including yourself, my good man. Including yourself.
Oh, you gave me an easy one there. That was good. All right, let's roll into it. Day 2. So you've been out in the middle of with your defender trying to save the world, and so you probably haven't seen much, have you? Or are you up to speed, bud?
I am up to speed, but I'm only up to speed with who won the race. You hear on every single news report. Which, that's something we should probably talk about even a bit more in depth, because I even got a few messages like, what's going on with the Hobart? What's happening with the coverage? How do we find out what's going on? It's not easy to find unless you are in the know. But if you just want some general knowledge, it's pretty hard to pick up anything apart from who came first over the line, which was, of course...
Comanche, congratulations.
Yes.
1 day, 18 hours, 30 minutes, 24 seconds winning the race. We'll have a lot to chat about how they did that, beating Infotrack in. So 2 wide bum boats, 45 minutes later on the old Infotrack. Oates following up after that. And then just in front of Scallywag, actually, there was a good battle, Oates, Scallywag and Blackjack. We didn't see any of that on TV, though. It's an interesting discussion.
So, winner and losers of the night. You've got to say Infotrack and Wild Oats were probably the performers of the evening, right, for where they finish up. Sure. And kudos to Infotrack, I would say. They've probably sailed the race of their life, I reckon.
I agree. Absolutely agree there. They've sailed with what they had. I do want to actually think about that a bit because, we'll probably come on to that a little bit later, but, both the first 2 boats over the line are big wide boats. So there's got to be some sort of design discussion we'll come into it, and we'll do that in a minute, I reckon. Good call. On the overall standings, we've got some interesting discussions going on there. So your tip and my tip, the dark horses... they're having shitters right now.
Most importantly, who's leading who?
Yours is in front by a place on mine. And they've stuck right next to each other the whole way.
What are they doing? They must have heard us. They're covering each other.
I think they're 91 and 93 at the moment. So, I'll explain why in a sec. But let's just go to the lead. So currently in the lead overall on the current predicted times is Matt Allen's Ichiban, followed by Quest, followed by Guilo, and then Envy Scooters. So the top 4 are TP52s. Very
I guess
interesting.
you'd rate those top 4 as being at the front, within the top 4 of the 52s that are currently out there.
Yeah.
So that's not unexpected, and I guess... the performance of a TP52 on IRC, that's not unexpected also.
Yeah. Daguet, the French entry that was leading for so much of the day, they're deep now. They're well and truly deep. So they've gone right down into the 44 at the moment. So for Ichiban to win. They've actually got a bit of time up. If you look at the current corrected on how they're going, so they're forecasting Ichiban to hit the line at 6:43 in Tasmania, and then Quest is currently forecast to hit at 8:10 p.m. And on the ratings, corrected ratings, that would have Ichiban winning by about 25 minutes. So there's not a huge. There's still a lot of risk in that.
Yeah, and I think Ichiban, Guelo, and Envy are all the same ratings.
Yep.
Ichiban's currently 6 miles ahead. They're just about to go around Tasman Island, doing 10 knots, so they've got breeze. You'd expect them to, well, not necessarily step out, but certainly maintain. And the beauty of the 52s, they always generally finish about this time of day, so they'll be heading across Storm Bay up the Derwent with a sea breeze. The trick will be, when is that sea breeze going to fizzle?
Yep.
Is it going to drop out before they arrive at the finish or not?
Yeah. So just looking at the ratings, Ichiban's 1.403, Quest 1.374, Guelo 1.403, and Envy is 1.399. So close.
Yep.
Very close. So yeah, that will be interesting. So if we looked at how, well, we're sort of discussing the weather a little bit. So the weather, how did it play out last night was exactly as we forecast.
Yeah, I'd say the only difference being is the big boats finished probably a bit earlier than we thought. So they obviously got the real good pressure and the right angle. There wasn't any jibing as such. Well, they were sailing VMG, but no jibing. So she was straight to the mark almost. So that's where they and they were doing 20s, 25s. So, yeah, they had a very good night. The green stoplight, well, the green traffic light was flashing until they reached the Derwent this morning where they hit the stop sign.
Yeah, which was pretty much what we suggested was going to happen. And then we did see a bit of it on TV, and the old Comanche just sitting there with sails hanging at some stage. So not the best outcome in terms of them winning overall. They want to just go charging right in, but it's pretty hard to get up the Derwent without having a stop at some stage. So lots of hills and mountains around. So the thing is, when you look at those, if you go and run the tracks of those vessels, like our Maxis, you can tell they're all running the same navigation software because they almost, except for, relative positioning east to west, they almost ran identical tracks. It was quite unique. There was only, it was spacing east to west of about 20-mile difference, and that made all the differences. The question then I wanted to bring back, going back to your earlier point, we saw, we know Comanche, you put her in the open ocean, Wild Oats has got no chance. Like you put Comanche out where she can pick her weather systems, she's gone, right? Whereas Wild Oats, upwind, downwind, she's going to be the favoured boat. I'd pick Wild Oats over that. So, and then we looked at InfoTrack, and they actually came in second. So we got some hard running conditions, almost like the sort of conditions that they'd be predicting, they'd be trying to sit in front of if they're at the middle of the ocean. So is it designed? Looks like they've picked the same tracks. Is design what made the difference, is what I'm wondering?
The fact that they weren't, or they had a free ocean to roam. They can poke the bow, especially the big powerful boats can poke the bow up and get rumbling. And it takes a lot of skill to then be able to maintain a low mode. Yep. But you've got to do that first and keep the boat planing. And I'm actually wondering how these new cable sails are giving the performance boost that we're seeing. It's a bit of a box up between Norse and Doyle's. Doyle's came out with the cableless zeros originally, and I'd say that's what they would have been on last night. And then you've got the other boats being Wild Oats, Scallywag, and Blackjack, all using the Helix zero. I doubt any of them had a soft luff sail at all, especially after the chat we had with Squark. So whether that had anything to do with it, buggered if I know.
Maybe we can.
It's a bit too much of a coincidence, maybe, to not have anything to do with it.
Maybe we can get in depth with that tomorrow when we do our regular Barkarati, we'll probably pull someone off Comanche. I think we've done a bit with a couple of the favourites on the overall, so we might pull someone off Comanche and have a bit of a chat to them.
Don't know what the safest time of day to do that would be, though. Is it early in the morning when they're dusty? Is it is it just pre-lunch where the edge is just coming off? But I'll tell you what, anything after 2 p.m, that won't be the time.
Yeah. I'm intrigued as to how BP's going to go, I'll be honest, because he'll be in. So he'll be the most dusty of all, I suspect.
Suspect.
Yeah. So you've brought up a couple of topic points. So let's actually just we've talked about line honours enough. Let's focus in on these handicap results. What is going to happen with the weather in the next 40 hours? Is it starting? They're starting to get it come out of the southwest at the moment. As they're going into the Derwent, as they're coming around Tasman Island, they're just down the bottom. They're starting to get it now. That should freshen, and then over the next 24 hours, they're going to go into a light patch again tonight, and then it should actually clock around to the north again. So, is what we're seeing with this weather? Do you reckon it's going to be these TPs that are going to hold on, or do you reckon that some of the smaller boats might have their shot?
Well, I'm just having a look at the local Derwent weather now.
Yep.
And it's looking like the sea breeze will be disappearing still have something at 5, by 6 it's starting to get down to the 8 knot range, by 7 pretty much disappeared. So it's going to be line ball.
It's the TPs,
saying
isn't
that yeah, absolutely, because currently their finish at 6:38 or whatever it was is based on their current speed. The minute they get around Tasman Island, they'll be crack sheets. They'll be doing 16, 18 knots. So I'd expect they'll be getting up the river with the sea breeze, or definitely those first 4, maybe only 3. But I think they'll be taking out, because that hole sitting off the east of Tasmania just looks way too big to do anything for any good for anyone's handicap, for that matter.
Yeah. So at the moment, the old Cat Wincher is still floating. She's still lurking. Remember, she was number 2 on the odds. So she's sitting 11th overall at the moment. And so to rate out, what's she got to get in? So she's a 0.887. Jeez, no wonder she's one of the faves. How's that for a rating? 0.887. So she's got plenty of time in hand to get there, but she's got 280, nearly 290 miles to go. I think she's stuffed.
That won't be happening. And especially you look at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning in the middle of Bass Strait is absolutely nothing. So hopefully they got a few more servings of bacon and eggs on board.
Oh yeah, you'd be turning the motor on at the moment, wouldn't you? She is absolutely nothing. Yeah, no, you're right. It's I reckon it's let's be honest, it's probably this group of TPs that are fighting at the lead right now. They're the ones that are looking the goods for the line on us. So you'd have to back that crew in, Matt Allen. Hey, they're looking the goods.
Yep, I totally concur with that. And I'll just do a little refresh on my tracker right now. But I think he would have just got around Tasman, starting to ease sheets, and off they go.
Yeah, off they go. Charging. Yeah. Just in terms of your comment about not getting much of the mainstream coverage, I just think they're using the wrong voices. So,
Did you watch it this morning on the coverage?
Yeah. Like they keep using people that are expert in other sports. I mean, I know they got Olivia Price and she was good, but she was working with, Rupert Guinness on the live stream. And much as I love Rupert, we know him through the cycling world. They didn't ask or didn't go into any in-depth conversation about tactics, strategy. They didn't talk about the tide. They didn't talk about some of the people on board. Like if I was running that commentary team, I'd be talking about Stan Honey. That man is a genius. Well, there's so much snow. I'd be talking about all the guys on the boat. There's so much to talk about.
Well, what you'd be talking about exactly what Rupert talks about when he commentates on cycling.
Exactly, yeah.
Or Phil Liggett, or for that matter.
Exactly.
I mean, all the experts in their field.
What they've got mastery in. So, that's how I'd run it. When we use non-experts, they just focus on the hyperbole rather than the detail, and I think that's where it for the non-viewers. Like when I did the commentary at the World Sailing Games, the instruction I got was to remember to talk down for the viewers, and I absolutely refused. I said, there's no way.
I was going to say.
No one talks down to me when I watch a footy game. The commentators don't adjust for me when I watch, basketball game. They just talk about it and expect the viewers to come up, And that's what we need to do with our sport. Let's actually just take it up. And that's what it worked.
Well, one, you can't forget about the core supporters of yachting, and that's yachties. And two, there's enough people on all these boats who have a fantastic story that is relatable to every single person.
Yeah.
Stan Honey, once again. I mean, you could talk about that man for hours, and everyone would be absolutely fascinated with what he's done outside of sailing, not to mention inside sailing.
Nearly every single person on the planet, or probably half the people on the planet, have been touched by some of Stan Honey's creations, and they don't know it. The man's, it's crazy. Anyway, and so maybe we'll try and get Stan on tomorrow, I think, is my goal. That's on you, Bicey. I've dropped you in the poo there because your mate's with him.
I'll send him a note this afternoon, actually.
But, so let's just a little bit of a summarise then, buddy. What are we looking at? So we reckon it's the TPs in with a win. We enjoyed the racing. We enjoyed the racing.
Yeah.
We both wanted
Great racing. It's such an iconic race course, and what the weather put up this year.
Yeah,
a few really good sailing periods, a few soft areas to navigate around. There was winners and losers, snakes and ladders, to use just an old term that every other single person uses. But they worked it out in the end, which yachting often does.
And I guess the only other 2 points I'd add is that we both want to go to sea on Comanche and have a go. Yep. And then we think BP may be pretty average on his roll tomorrow.
Yep. Fair chance you'll be missing in action. I've been to Hobart enough to know to make any sort of commitment to, especially even the likes of the of Barkarati. Yeah, we were a little loose at times, but hey, 24 hours after finishing the Hobart race, that chance.
Yeah. Cool. All right, mate. Well, let's roll out, and we'll look forward to having a good long chat about the race and all sorts of things tomorrow, yeah?
Awesome, mate.
All right, bud.
Love your work.
See you, mate.
Catch ya.